and welcome to another episode of Raman Reasons. The series is coming to an end, but what a series this has been between India and England. 4 test matches have been played, and all the 4 test matches have been absolutely gripping. India did extraordinarily well in the first test. They scored a lot of runs, but on the final day, England went on to win the test match with a meticulously planned chase. And then in the second test at Edgbaston, the Indian Pacers held sway and did a fantastic job of bowling India to victory. And it was 1-all when they went to Lords. And at Lords, it was a case of England really piling the pressure on India on the final day, and the Indian batting succumbing to the pressure. But it has to be said that they were overcautious to a certain extent at Lords in the chase in the fourth innings. However, what happened in Manchester was they're looking down the barrel at the end of the England innings because they had piled up a huge lead, but they batted out 5 sessions in grand style, displaying fantastic temperament to draw the test match and stay alive in the series. So that is how the series stands, and if you look back at the series, it has to be said that India have done way above the expectations of people, and it is a matter of great pride that this young side has acquitted themselves so well, and that's fantastic for Indian cricket because Team India is in a transition stage, and therefore this performance will give them a lot of encouragement in the future. I'll take a brief pause here to tell the viewers to subscribe if you haven't already, and also for those people who have subscribed but yet have not pressed the like button. Thank you for all the support you've given so far, and I hope to have your continued support in the future as well. Now, getting back to the series, let's see what England has done so far in this series. They've batted well in patches, and also their bowling has been good in patches. And it has to be said that the bowlers were struggling a wee bit in the first 2 tests as far as lengths are concerned, but they became better at Lords, and in Manchester they once again looked good, but they're not penetrative enough to bowl their side to victory. So, which means that India obviously will feel that they do have it in them to put it past England in the final test and level the series. Now, the important thing for England would be the fitness levels of Ben Stokes, because we did not see him bowl on the fourth day of the Manchester Test match, and even on the fifth day, he was rather bowling well within himself, and he did not bowl long spells like he did at Lords. It will be the key as far as England is concerned, because he's been bowling extraordinarily well, and so far he's been the highest wicket taker for England. And but for Ben Stokes, I think the Indian batters would have done a lot better. And the other way of looking at it is that the England bowling would have looked a lot more ordinary than it has been. So the important thing for England is for Ben Stokes to be absolutely fit in terms of what he can provide as a bowler. Yes, if he's fit, then India will have a huge challenge because he's not only hit the right rhythm, but he's also got the confidence of having picked up wickets. So let's see what exactly India can do in the final test. And before they get onto the field, they got big decisions to make as far as the playing 11 is concerned. We did have the benefit of all-rounders providing a lot of confidence by the manner in which they batted in the last test and eke out a draw for India. I'm referring to Washington Sundar and Jadeja. And Shubman Gill has been in top nick as well, and Jaiswal and Rahul have been good too. So it's just a case of another middle order batter needing to contribute to ensure that England are made to work very hard on the field. So, righto, based on what's happened so far and based on what is the fitness scenario at the moment for the Indian team, let me try and see what best they can do in terms of 11. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to give out a list of 11 that would possibly cover all bases. Quite obviously, Jaiswal and Rahul will open the innings because they have done a grand job of playing out the new ball more often than not, and they looked solid too when they put their minds. Rahul has been in top nick. Jaiswal has been reasonably good. And of course, number three, Sai Sudarshan will get the nod. There's no problem at all with that, even though he did get off to first bowler in the second innings at Manchester. He's looked good. He's shown that he's got the ability and the temperament. And of course, at four, Captain Gill has been in absolutely magnificent form right through this series, notching up over 700 runs. And number five, obviously, would be something that they'll think very hard about. But the manner in which Washington Sundar is batted in the Manchester Test, I think the team manager would have had the confidence to stick him in at number five. Hope they do that. Of course, number six would be Jadeja, with Rishabh Pant coming back to India because of the injury, and Jurel being already there. And he's also a capable batter, so I think he would probably be slotted at seven. It's in the bowling combination that there'll be a lot of thinking involved because the major thing that they need to consider is the fitness of Bumrah. I, for one, felt that his pace has been progressively dropping from test 1 to 3 to 4, and that's perhaps something that they'll have to look at very hard because even if Bumrah is likely to be only 60-70% fit, there'll be a temptation to play him given the importance of the last test. But there's no point in taxing Bumrah, and also it's not going to serve anybody any purpose if he's going to be dropping in pace continuously. The thing is that Bumrah is obviously a top-notch bowler when he's at his best, and even for him, if the pace drops and if there's going to be no help in the air or off the seam, things can get rather difficult, and he's got to bowl a lot more overs, which once again is not good for him at this point because he's coming back from an injury and his workload has to be minutely followed. So if Bumrah is not completely fit and if he feels that he can't generate the pace that he was generating in the first test, then I think they might probably bench him, and that will make Siraj the lead bowler. And quite obviously, Akash, if he's fit, I'm sure that they'll definitely bring him back into the 11. And we've seen the other paces, Shardul Thakur and Kamboj. Shardul Thakur was obviously way below par, and he was definitely not bowling as well as he did in the past. Of course, Kamboj was nervous, and also the fact remains that the Manchester pitch is also sluggish, and there was absolutely no help for the bowlers either in the air or off the pitch. So that made him perhaps a little bit overawed, and he found the going tough. But of course, he's a man who made his debut, and these things do happen in cricket. You cannot really gauge a player or kind of judge him based on one game. And I always maintain that if a player is good enough to play one game, he's got to play 4 or 5 games. But what would probably happen is that they might give him a break and bring back Prasidh Krishna because he is one who's played 2 games, and he is also one who hits the deck hard. And oval normally dishes out bouncy surfaces where the surfaces are hard, and there's a fair bit of bounce on all 5 days of the test match. Mind you, it's not something very lethal, but yet bounce is something the bowlers would always prefer. But the bowlers also need to put in a lot of effort to generate the bounce that is available on the surfaces at the oval. And of course, the big talking point has always been the benching of Kuldeep Yadav so far. Will he get a nod? I think he should get a nod because the wrist spinners generally have proved to be uh, really a problem for the English batters. Yes, the England batters have done well, but let's not forget the fact that the Indian fast bowlers ambushed them at Edgbaston, and the combination of Siraj, Akashdeep, and Bumrah slash Prasidh Krishna, along with Kuldeep Yadav, can really flummox them. As far as drawing up the runs are concerned, Washington Sundar and Jadeja can always do that, even if the fast bowlers tend to be a bit indifferent in their opening spells or maybe in any one of the spells. But let's not forget that Jadeja and Washington Sundar have chipped in with wickets as well. So a combination of three seamers and Jadeja plus Sundar plus Kuldeep Yadav will make the Indian bowling attack a well-rounded side. But on paper, it may make the Indian batting side look a bit vulnerable or brittle. But we got to try and take a gamble here for the simple reason India has got everything to play. They can win the test match and go on to level the series. And in the event, if England go on to win the final test, they would have ended up losing the series 1-3. But still, it's a case of making this young side think along the right lines and go for the kill and be positive rather than trying to be safe. And that's exactly how Virat Kohli started his stint as captain. He desired to play to win, even at the risk of losing a test match. It's not a bad thought at all. So I, for one, would think personally, Team India should go all out in having a well-rounded bowling lineup, and that will obviously provide the confidence that they can bowl England out twice at the Oval. So there's everything to play for, and they have done extraordinarily well so far. And after the jailbreak at Manchester, the team will be buoyant, and bolstering up the bowling attack will only uh, make them a favorite to win the Test match at the Oval. And hopefully, they go on to bring in Kuldeep Yadav and win the Test match. And if they go on to win the Test match, it'll be a fabulous series and it'll be a fabulous result as well, because nobody gave a chance to this young side. But yet, there's still that element of playing it safe so far in this series from the team management. They got to shed that particular thing of playing safe and going all out. Will Gambhir and Gill do that? That's the manner in which they played. India deserved to draw this series. That's it for me on this episode. And as I always say when I sign off, until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.